Welcome back, everyone, to the Vanilla Collaboration Challenge. I'm your host, Gasoline Billy, and special thanks goes to Zorch Farming and Rusty Money Gaming for their ideas to use to create this challenge. As you know, or maybe you don't know, so let's go over this. We go up in the map. You start this challenge with the $1,000,000. Of course, it's vanilla, so you randomize the 4 base game maps, the 3 base and the 1 DLC map. You are only allowed to use vanilla equipment or the DLC. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to randomize your maps. And we ended up with Huntan Pantai. And then you are going to randomize your economy. And we ended up with a hard economy. Uh, Let me double check that again real quick. I'm pretty sure it's hard economy. It is. Very good. Okay. And then we load into the map and you put in all of the property numbers. And the first one you get is your small farm. And you purchase that land. Then the second one you get is your medium farm. You purchase that land. And then your third one is your large farm, and you purchase that land. Uh, After you're done purchasing that land, you must go into the shop and you randomize your small tractors, every one that will do up to or at least 150 horsepower. So this is the first one that would do up to 155 horse. And then I believe there's 5 total of the little ones. And then in order to move from the small farm to the medium farm, you have to have all the equipment to plow, fertilize, plant, and harvest the crop that was in the field when you purchased it. Now, this field shows that we have canola growing, but it was sugar beets when we bought it. So therefore we have to have the equipment to do sugar beets to move on. So that being said, uh, your your farms are basically a one tile challenge. You are not allowed to expand on these farms at any point. You have to stay within your farmland the entire time that you're doing this challenge. So what you see for field 40, let me scroll in a little bit and we will go to farmland. This area here is all we have to work with for the small farm. So we just going ahead and decided to plow and plant the canola in all this. However, I do plan on putting in some more greenhouses, things like that. Possibly some productions, things that we may use later on down the line. But as of right now, we are just doing the canola, and we have 28,224, and it is October. And what we need to do is make more money because when this stuff is ready to harvest in July, let's check the crop calendar for canola. We planted it one of these 2 months. We get to harvest it in August or September. I'm not sure exactly when we put it in. However, we get to harvest in one of those 2 months. So what we need to do is we need to make some money. So let's go into our contracts and see what kind of contracts we can come up with for making some money. 14,000, that is a dang good contract. So we have some harvesting. Field 5 is red beets. That does not look entertaining at all. Parsnips, cotton. Cotton would be okay. You could get a worker and start a worker on it. There's some good plowing contracts. We do not have the straight plows. We have the sidewinder plows. So it's not something that I would be enjoying to do. There's a spraying contract, some stone picking, and wood transport. So let's look at. I do not believe we have a cultivator yet. I am almost positive of that. We do not have a cultivator as of yet. So let's, what kind of cultivator could we get for $28,000? Let's run down here to the cultivators. So we have 3 meter for 16. We have this John Deere it's a 4 meter for 9,500. That's too big. There's the last horsepower is 24.5, and it is 4 meters as well. And I believe that's all that we are going to be able to do. What about if we check our disc harrows? So we have 3 meter for 9,000, a 4.5 meter for 21,000, and we're way past our amount of horsepower. Part of this challenge is you have to use implements within the horsepower of your range of your tractor. Now, we are fully capable of leasing for contracts. Leasing for your own farm is not available. It's not allowed, but you can borrow machinery for the contracts. So let's go back in here again. I believe I want to do that harvesting contract for the cotton. I think it's cost us $1,000. The problem I see is on cotton, if you don't get the bale unloaded, then you're kind of stuck with maybe not being able to finish the contract. And in base game, that is a possibility because I don't believe it allows you to unload the unfinished bales. I could be wrong on that, but I'm kind of steer clear of that right now, just because I'm a little concerned with it. So if we lease this one, we borrow this one, it's going to cost us $640. Let's go ahead and do that. And we will scoot over, get to the case Steiger, and we'll run it down to field 12 and get started cultivating. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're enjoying the weather and everything. We've had a good stretch of weather for a while where I live, so hopefully you all have had a chance to enjoy that. So I believe we probably should have took that turn there. We probably should have. Really ought to pay attention. Crop destruction is on, but we can't destroy crops that we don't own, so we can go this way in between the fields. And it's probably not the best option I've ever done before, but for what we'll say shits and giggles, let's go ahead and do it that way, and we'll live with the consequences later. So I believe I need to take this little dirt path down. There's that cotton field. I'm really torn about doing that. I don't know if you can get the cotton. I don't know if you can unload the unfinished bale, and I'm worried that we wouldn't be able to get that bale out. So let's unfold our cultivator here, and we will set up some, possibly, can you give me some steering assist lines? And we will get lined up with our first line, and we're going to lower the cultivator. Okay, lower the cultivator, and we're going to take off and see what we can get accomplished. This is going to take a while. So It doesn't even look like it's doing much to cultivate, actually. This is where a modded gameplay helps, because you can use cultivators that will move a little faster than 7, and that would definitely help us on this playthrough. However, it is vanilla, so we're going to go about our vanilla and live with it. So here we go. Let me work on this for a while, and actually I am going to see about taking some other contracts and getting some workers started on doing some other contracts, and we'll be right back with you. Welcome back, everyone. We're just about wrapped up with this field, 94%. Get this run down. I started a worker on field 7. Let's do a quick save here. Plowing. And so that one's going to be there for quite a while. Don't know if I can span around and see. Yeah, he's barely getting anything turned. So it could be a while for him on that worker. Been thinking about that cotton field, and I'm really contemplating on taking it. You live and you learn. Part of me says you're not going to be able to unload the unfinished bale, and part of me says who cares uh, if it matches just right. So let's go into our contracts. We've completed this one. We'll collect it. And we have some more cultivating. We can bale wrap here on 49. That wouldn't take too awful long. It'd be about $1,200. Another cultivating for 10 and 25. Let's take this bale wrapping and just wipe it out real quick. We'll borrow the items just for the heck of it. We'll bale wrap these fields. It gave us a little Iseca tractor, however you pronounce that. Something that goes a little quicker than the cultivating missions. We'll knock this off and then possibly take a cultivating mission, and we'll maybe throw in a time lapse on that one. We'll run down here. We'll do some quick bale wrapping. Shouldn't take too awful long. Again, got the fog again at 10:20 in the morning. We probably should check on our plow. Wow, you cannot see nothing there. Real foggy area. There shouldn't be too many bales. I didn't check the contract to see exactly how many bales were on the field, but shouldn't be too awful many here. It's like 6, maybe 7. So let's unfold our bale wrapper, and we'll head and pick up the first one. Just some square bales wrapping up, making some silage. Speaking of silage, we'll be doing plenty of this work when we're at our large farm. Probably should turn on automatic drop. And we'll grab the next one. Pull over here to the next bale, and we'll wait. Let it wrap and drop. We can grab the next one while we're at it. Let's tab over to our plow. It's getting there. It's a big field. It's going to take quite a bit to get through it. So, oh, we'll pull up and we'll hit our next bale. So, as much as I want to spend money on some things, I think it's wise to go ahead and wait to build up the money to purchase the harvester. That way we know we have it before we spend money on other things. So for instance, I was looking at what a cultivator would cost us. I think in the long run, I think it's better to hold up the money and get the harvester before we buy other implements that we could use on contracts. Only because that way we'll know for sure we have what we need to harvest our canola when it's ready. And we should be able to just borrow contract machines to get contracts done. So we shouldn't have too big of an issue on that. However, if we buy a cultivator and we're $9,500 short of buying a harvester when we need it, we will really be upset. So this contract is finished. Let's go ahead and make sure there isn't any other bale wrapping, and there is not. So we'll collect that one. And I think I've talked myself into it. We're going to check out there it is, the last one I clicked on, of course. Let's borrow the items from the shop. We are going to go and harvest some cotton. I didn't want to get in the tractor, thank you. Apparently it wants me to drive the tractor, so we're going to drive the tractor first. We're going to drive the tractor over here. And now we'll get back in the harvester. If it would have put me in the tractor again, I would have been pretty upset. So we're going to go to field 9 and harvest that cotton. And we are going to try to make it work to where we can get the cotton out of the harvester when we need to get it out. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the automatic drop, and I'll meet you over at the field. And we're off. I'm going to try and see what we can get made out of this. These are, I believe they hold 20,000 in a cotton bale on these square bales. It's been a while since I've done base game cotton, so bear with me on that. But I think we might time lapse quite a bit, and I'll bring you back when we're dropping off our first bale, or if the contract is field's done. So I'll see you in a minute or two. back. I am going to have to cut out some of that time lapse. That was an extremely long time lapse. It took quite a while, and as you notice, we're still not quite 100% done with this field, so we're got to keep going at it. We're going to hopefully get another bale. That would be 2 off of this field. That would be great. Um, Hopefully it pays a little bit. We get paid for a little bit of the cotton when we deliver it to the spinnery. I'm hoping, but we shall see. Okay, I'm going to miss my line completely here. Here we go. So our worker doing our plow job is just about halfway completed with that field. So hopefully that's going to get done there quicker than I expect it to get done. That would be great. We shall see. Believe we're going to get done with this row right here. I think we're going to set a worker on doing this up and downs. Start a worker while we take that bale and take it to the spinnery. First we'll have to find the spinnery. I'm not sure where it's even at. And we'll let a worker continue on with this harvest, and while we haul that to the spinnery and see where we're at. So let's finish this row. Get them started on another row, but I doubt very seriously they will. So let's go to the worker. We'll turn the headlands off, and we'll let them go. What are they going to do? What are they going to go? I've got you lined up. You just take off. You'll be fine if you just take off. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Let's jump over to this tractor and we'll run down. We'll pick up that bale. We'll find out where exactly the spinnery's at and deliver the first bale. See if we can't jump that contract up quite a bit. Right now it's at 50%. Let's see if we can't jump her up to 70 or so. Wow, I am hard on the signs for the map. I knocked over 2 or 3 with that cotton harvester on the way to the field. Now I'm running them over with the tractor and the trailer. So in the last episode, I asked you guys what you thought about doing deadwood contracts, about buying a chainsaw to do the deadwood contracts, even though our medium farm will take a chainsaw to cut down the trees. As you know, our medium farm is a tree forest area. So we've said that the equipment we would need would be something to cut it down, remove the stumps, and to plant the tree, of course, plow, and fertilize the area, of course, and we're going to have a winch to move the tree. So, operating position, thank you. And we'll suck this bale up in here. So, most of the comments that I've received about that is that it would be okay to buy the chainsaw, but when I get to the medium farm, I need to buy another chainsaw. And I've thought about that more and more. I believe the way I'm going to do that is if it's down to just deadwood contracts, and that's the only contracts that I can accomplish, I believe we are going to take the equipment. For instance, let's look here at this deadwood contract. It gives you this tractor with this cutter. And I believe that's something that we're just going to deal with and not purchase a chainsaw to do deadwoods. If we're stuck with deadwoods, I'm going to try to stay away from the deadwoods for right now, just to, well, because I don't want to worry about trying to get that tractor into the forest to cut down trees, and they don't pay real well, and there's more contracts to do, so we'll worry about doing these other contracts. So the spinnery is straight here. So it looks like we'll get this road and we'll come down. So let's go find which way we can find it. We'll drive down this road. We'll get on the main road at the gas station. Go down that way. So we'll go down here a little ways. It looks like it's going to be right here on the right-hand side. Right here where we unload. I'm going to take a chance and say that's it. So we will unload that bale and see what happens. And it is sucking it in slowly but surely. And there it is. We are 63% transported for field 9. So let's go back to the field. Since we didn't do a headland on this end, that worker for the cotton harvester is not going all the way to the end because he's not showing that as a headland. We didn't want him to start on the headlands, so we'll have to go back when he's finished and knock out that couple of strips that'll be the headland on the south side of the field there. And he's just working away, so we're going to pull over here to it and let that worker continue on. I'm not going to take over for him. I'm going to take a look at the contracts and see what else there is available. So we'll go in here. We've got some more cultivating. 77 right by the shop. Some fertilizing, more harvesting. A bunch of those root crops, which if you almost have to have 2 people to do those, because the harvester, you have to unload the harvester at the same time. So you have to put a worker on it. Field 4 plowing, we're not interested. Spraying, there's a decent contract for 41. We could possibly do that. I just don't know. Kind of at a loss. All right, we will go into the right. What's on sale? Did we check the sale page? Ooh, a nice JCB. Of course, we can't have it because we're only allowed our 1 tractor per farm. So this would not work for us. We're at 8,470. I don't know if we're going to fill back up. So this contract may be a dud. I am not sure. There's our plow guy going. So let's go in here. Let's take that spraying contract. We're going to borrow the items. And we will hop over to it. I believe I have some herbicide sitting here. So we're going to load up with herbicide. Hopefully it doesn't take too much herbicide to do it. I don't know how much herbicide we have left. Looks like quite a bit. 2,000 liters. So hopefully 2,000 liters will take care of this field 41. Let's run over there and take a look at it and see if we can't wipe this out and put another 4 or 5 grand in our pocket. Of course, we're paying for the herbicide and we're paying the fee to rent the machine. So those are two coming right off the top. Oh, oh, oh. Again, good with those signs. I knocked one over right there. There's our little bitty plow that we've purchased. It is sitting on our land, just barely, but it's sitting there. You know what we need to do? We need to put water in our greenhouse. I'm not sure how much water our greenhouse has, but we definitely need to check that before we're done with this episode. Let's unfold this guy and see how stretched he'll be. Looks like all of it. So we'll scoot over a little bit. We'll set some GPS lines. And we'll see if we can't turn this on and get going. Hopefully we have enough to get through this field without having to purchase too much more, or any more actually. It's going through it fairly quickly. There's 100 liters already and we haven't made it across one pass. We'll shut that off. We're going to catch our next line. Turn it on. Go across the field this way. I don't do much spraying for weeds. Usually if it's on a contract, but as far as my own gameplay, I'm not much of a sprayer. Honestly, I don't play with weeds on that often. I don't care for the weeds, and I usually use a weeder or a hoe to take care of them when I do have weeds on. And mainly I will plow the fields. Plowing is a lot easier to me, and it eliminates the opportunity to get weeds. And usually when I plow, I have the straight plow and not the base game plows, so the plowing is a lot easier. I usually use a modded lizard, something like that, so the plow goes through. Even with the horsepower down, we can turn the plow backwards and run it that way. So I just mainly don't deal with weeds too awful much. I don't spray for them. I don't use a weeder. I mostly plow when I have to deal with the weeds, and that's just my preference. A lot of people prefer to spray their fertilizer and use their sprayer for herbicide. I just haven't been one of those gameplay people, I guess. I'm not a big liquid fert and herbicide guy. I don't know why. It's really simple, and it's usually quite the spread that you can make to get across where you need to get. So I don't know why I don't do it more often. It's definitely an easy task to do. Sometimes you have fields that you have to worry about trees and whatnot with the boom of the sprayer, so I can definitely understand some of that disregard of not wanting to mess with it, but for the most part it's fairly simple. So is our cotton harvester about done? We're at 90% on that field, so we are at 60% on this weeding contract, and we're down to 1,200 liters of herbicide, so we're doing okay. Right there is a pole. Like I just said, we got to watch the poles. There was 2 spraying contracts, and being that we have this machine, I may go ahead and do that other spraying contract, provided we still have herbicide left. I don't want to buy a tote of herbicide for the little price it's going to pay for that field. But it looks like we will have herbicide left when we get done. We've only got a few passes left to do here. So 74%, 75%. So we're doing good here. Still 980 liters of herbicide. So with the contracts of the fertilizing and everything, I know that we're going to have to spend some of our money to buy that stuff, to do contracts with it, but I'm going to go ahead and allow that. I just don't want to buy equipment per se until we get a harvester. The only thing I would think I'd be willing to buy is, right now our greenhouse, lettuce greenhouse, is on automatic sale, and I may at some point in time turn that on to where we can take the products and sell them ourselves. So that would involve a trailer and a front loader or a forklift of some kind, and forks for our tractor, possibly something along those lines. So I may do something like that, but other than that, I think I'm going to refrain from buying equipment until we have our harvester purchased. That way we know we're in the clear for purchasing or doing our canola harvest when it comes time to get our canola harvest done. And this is done, so we've got 686 liters. And I am not going to be able to take the other spraying contract because we have 3. Field 11, that's a small field. See if I can accept it. Nope, I already have 3 active, and that's what I thought. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and find field 11. Run down here. I believe we have to go on the other side of the gas station. Again, I'm still relearning this map. Never played on this map particular. It was a Settlers or Pioneers or something it was called, but it was basically laid on top of this map. So there was familiarity. Wow, look at all the weeds in this field. Two passes should take care of it, but we are not able to do it just yet, so we're just going to shut that off for now. We're going to hop out of our tractor. Let's run over here to this cotton harvester. This guy is done harvesting cotton, so we'll have to run these 2 edges and hope to God we can get this unloaded. $14,000. If I can't finish this contract because I can't unload an unfinished bale, I am going to be a little upset. Although I have my only myself to blame because I'm the one that took it and took a chance, knowing full well I may not be able to unload the unfinished bale. It's like we might get to 15, possibly. Probably not. Just under 15,000. $14,783. We can turn off harvester. And of course, lift harvester. And of course, we're not going to be able to unload it. Of course. Of course. I don't know why I thought it would be any different. Of course. Of course. So we basically wasted our time and our energy. Gotta love vanilla. Gots to love vanilla. Vanilla gameplay is so vanilla. So let's jump to our sprayer. We're going to turn it on. We're going to turn our spray on. Now, the weeds in this field before we took this contract was a lot worse than that. So I'm not quite sure what happened, but things changed. So basically, our plowing contract and our cultivating contract paid for us to play with a cotton harvester that we really didn't need to play with. So that was awesome. So we got that spray contract finished, so we can complete it. We got a whopping $800 back for it. Got quite a bit to do on our plowing contract. Let's take this sprayer and run back towards the shop or our farm, whichever comes first, and unload what little bit of herbicide is in it. Because we'll use it in a future contract or on our own field, something somewhere we will use it. No sense giving it away. Watch out, car, I'm driving here. I had the right of way, not you. So, man, it really sucks about that cotton contract. I just can't get over how bad that sucked. So let's pull right here. Let's see if we can unload that. Oh, went right next to the pole. That's awesome. Let's complete this contract for $5,837. And let's hop in, see where our plow guy's at. He looks like he's working on headlands now. So that's going to be 30% worth of headlands. Okay then. Alrighty, well, let's see what other contracts are available. We have some cultivating again, some fertilizing again, 35 fertilizer. 17 is down there, 35. It's right by the shop. Let's go ahead and do this contract. Giving us a little JCB to do it with. Same with herbicide. I believe we have some fertilizer right there. So we'll run over and load it. Not quite sure how much we have here. 1,470 liters. Get in the big area. All right. So that one is completed. Where was the other fertilizing? 17. Now we can fertilize 41, which we do not have enough for. And 17 was the other. Let's accept that contract. And we will buy a couple things of fertilizer. Go in the shop here, go down to fertilizer. We'll get a couple of bags, buy 2 of those. We're down. That cost us $3,800. So this next contract is only going to pay us a couple of $1,000. So I don't know how many of you were screaming at me in the comments about that cotton harvest. Trust me, I'm screaming at myself enough now. I knew better and I did it anyway. And that is the kind of stuff that, you know, comedy legends are made of, because they just do stupid things. And people laugh about it. So let's just call it that wasn't Bill's mistake. That was Bill's chance at comedy. See, gas Bill, you are really trying to make everybody laugh by doing that. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. We'll call it my comedy experience. That's what that was. Has nothing to do with being stupid, just comedy. That's what it was. We got one more pass here. Since we have so much fertilizer, I'm going to go ahead and take that field 17, but I will do that off camera wrap this field up. I am going to let you guys go, and we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all later. Hi, I'm Gasoline Billy. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.